All right, guys, listen. We have another track by the same guy.
Oh, really?
He wrote a song called Richmond, North of Richmond, which also became controversial. Middle Earth was kind enough to send us a dono, so we're going to listen to it right now. So this is part 2. Here we are.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away.
Damn.
Drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. 'Cause the rich men, north the rich men. I wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere.
Damn.
Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. 'Cause the rich men, north the rich men.
I think he liked it.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
Wow. That's so crazy. Literally, I was thinking today about how great it is that we have a welfare system that can help people in need, but how bogus it is that, some people take to that degree. Cuz I actually worked and helped different people in those situations, and there were some people, I don't know what the algorithm is, but like some people, they didn't have enough with welfare, and then there was some people that had like a lot of excess, and I don't understand why it wasn't, because to my understanding it goes off the number of people in your family, how much money you can have, and like this one family, this wasn't enough food.
Is the argument that we're suffering inflation because of fat people on welfare?
Huh? Is that what he said? Can you put the lyrics up?
He said, if you're 300 pounds, then my tax dollars shouldn't go to paying for your fudge rounds. Like, that's what he said. You didn't see that part?
Well, yeah, I did. I did see that, but I took that as...
he starts off the song complaining about the bullshit pay, right?
Yep.
And then in verse 2, he talks about fat people on welfare that are 5'3" and 300 pounds eating fudge brownies, and his tax dollars shouldn't have to pay for it. I mean, that's... that's pretty. That's fucking. That's
Well,
cold blooded,
okay,
man. This dude is not taking. He's not playing with y'all.
Yeah. What I've observed is that there are some people that
He says, I wish politicians would look out for minors and
Yeah.
not just minors on an island somewhere. What is he talking about there? Not just
what do
minors
you
on
mean?
an
What's
island.
his face that killed him? That we all know he didn't kill him. Epstein Island.
Oh, Epstein.
Yeah. He's
So
talking about the miners as in the coal miners instead of miners as in children in an island.
So we should worry more about the coal miners than we do about the girls being
No,
sexually
he's saying,
trafficked?
I wish politicians would worry about the miners coaling mine rather than, when he says worry about, he's doing a play on, but he means because they're just over there fooling around with these miners on an island.
Okay.
Why are you saying it like that? I think he's saying it ironically. I don't think that he's saying it like we shouldn't pay attention to the kids that are on those island. Maybe he is. I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he's saying they should pay attention for the miners, not pay attention in the way they are with those miners.
He's frustrated that the dollar is taxed to the degree that it is, so now he has to work harder for less pay. That's because of inflation. And it's the fault, it appears, of Northern Democrats, men north of Richmond, Virginia. So he's saying, he's talking about, come on, Vin, he's attacking pedo politicians. No, I didn't know that he was attacking pedo politicians. I interpreted that to be, worry about us too. Don't just worry about those girls being sex trafficked, which, I mean, I guess.
This is what I think is happening.
It's a little awkward to me.
Well, I mean, it is because obviously the bigger issue is the children the minors on that island.
Well,
is the bigger
that's not
issue.
so obvious to me that that's a bigger issue to this guy.
Right, exactly. I think that he's focusing on what's happening to people like him, the working class, the ones that like the coal miners who literally work themselves into the ground. So you have some people that are working so hard to be able to live that they end up dying to live. And then you have other people who are working the system so they can stay at home instead of working, and they can work. I've known plenty of people that can work.
That's the reason he believes that's a reason for inflation.
I don't know. I didn't go that deep, babe. Maybe that's what he's saying, but I was just
that's what he's complaining. He's complaining about inflation.
I thought he was pointing
out, which I think is a legitimate.
That why should our tax money, when people are working themselves to death, like I literally know somebody that's working himself to death and he pays his taxes. So that person who works himself to death, or the coal miners who I mean, you could say the coal miners even more, which is what he brought up, because they were working themselves to death, and a lot of them, they couldn't, remember those stories? Like they couldn't afford a lot of stuff.
I understand. That's why Hillary went over there and said, we're done with coal. That's when the whole learn to code thing. All the coal miners are like, wait a second, this will be done for like 9 generations. What the hell are you talking about? Like, she was so tone deaf. Shout out to Hillary Clinton. No, I do think the inflation issue is a legitimate beef. And I do think that the Democrats have hurt the value of the dollar. But you know what else would hurt the value of the dollar a lot more than a fat lady eating bonbons is the $8 trillion GWAT, or the global war on terror.
Yes.
We had $8 trillion that we pumped into killing a bunch of innocent people, including the combatants. Because when you go into somebody's house, if they have a weapon and you still kill them, you still killed an innocent person who's trying to defend their castle. I was watching and it's always hard when dudes get this realization, because people have no idea what people have given up for this thing. But Navy SEAL dude, he was talking to an agency guys, and he goes, "Are we the bad guys?" And like, you could tell he's having a real issue because he did a lot of grimy shit over there. And then we just left Afghanistan, and like nothing has changed. Like the tally still. I mean, they were pretty much locked up in a civil war with the Northern Alliance for decades after the Russians left. We essentially went in there, cleared out the tally, set up Hamid Karzai and all the rest of it. It was just, my point is, $8 trillion over 20 years. We could have repurposed that
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
I think that had a lot more impact on the economy than Sally in her trailer park eating bonbons with her obesity. But the problem is that the GWAT was a mostly Republican-led operation, and so if he calls out the GWAT, then he cannot put it only on Richmond, north of Richmond, which would be Democrats, politicians in Washington. So, like, I definitely see where the beef is. Obviously, he wrote that to be shocking. He's talking about the 300-pound person. I just think that's completely uncharitable. I don't think, first of all, this is the honest truth. People who are obese have comorbidities of mental illness, while a lot of the times they're using food to self-medicate, just like weed or just like anything for some people with sex. With certain people, food is their comfort, and so if you're like, there's no understanding. It's like he's bringing us into his world and trying to get us to understand his plight, which is real. That's real. But like, it doesn't seem there's any understanding of the plight of the woman who is so fucked up. She's by herself. She's got no support. And her only comfort in life is the chocolate fudge. Like, he doesn't understand that because he doesn't have an eating disorder. He doesn't look at food as comfort. He's channeled his pain into something good like music, but not everybody's like you, bro. So to me, it's like, yo, the woman who is medicating with the bonbons or whatever you want to say, she's just as fucked up as you are. And she is finding some way to deal with it instead of killing herself. And I know that's crazy for people. Oh, she won't have a sandwich. Okay, feel how you want to feel. But the Bible, when somebody really fucked up, it says don't even eat with that person. So obviously eating is more than just you fill your belly. There's an emotional aspect to it. So I just felt like it was an opportunity for him to extend his hand across the aisle with solidarity for some, like some good Marxist class solidarity, where you say, look, I've found a way to deal with my pain through music. You're doing it through food. We're both in a bad situation. Maybe we can help each other out. Maybe she could take care of your dogs and then you could do something and whatever. Like, we got to help each other now, because obviously, as the song says, the government's not going to do it. If you think Republicans are trying to help you, bro, I mean, they're the ones talking. I mean, Vivek right now is talking about cutting Medicare and shit. So, like, I understand it. I understand the shocking line. I don't like it when people pick on women. I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it.
You definitely, like, you made it like that situation. Did it say woman?
I mean, we've got folks in the street ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. God,
Yeah,
if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds.
Yeah, it doesn't say woman.
Taxes on. Well, I mean, obviously the stereotype is the fat white woman in the trailer park eating the bonbons because she's taking advantage of welfare.
Yeah, I mean,
like, this to me is like,
I didn't take it as
a missed opportunity.
I agree. I can see what you're saying there. I didn't take it that, like, I took it as, like, we're talking about, when you're talking about a 5'3", when you're talking about that example, I just thought he was trying to give an example of saying, look, there are some people that will abuse the system, and then there are other people, like here's the system, and you have some people that are taking the taxes and not putting into the system, and then you have other people who their lives, they're literally dying. He talked about the miners, the coal miners.
Yeah, again,
they worked themselves to death.
We did not spend $8 trillion to buy bonbons for white women in trailer parks. That's not what's killing our economy. What's killing our economy is we had a 20-year global war on terror that cost us $8 trillion.
Wait, can you show me where he was talking about killing our economy? Because I didn't catch that.
Well, he says the U.S. dollar doesn't mean anything. That's inflation.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. So he's trying to blame, the only culprit for inflation in his mind are the Democrats in Washington and fat people eating bonbons and abusing welfare. That's the problem in the country. Those are the only problems that he listed.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like
I mean, that's obviously
the GWAT took about 5,000 American lives. We killed over 1 million people over 20 years. We spent $8 trillion. On top of that, we had a pandemic in which millions of Americans were told not to work, and then they all lost their housing because they couldn't generate the revenue, and there was no shortfall for them. But all the rich companies got their PPP loans forgiven. Meanwhile, single payer small business folks ended up in prison for PPP. I knew a dude that I had to do something with his background check because he just got jammed up for a PPP fraud when I was trying to hire him. So it's like, those are the things that are, I mean, Jimmy Dore called it, we had the largest transfer of wealth in that COVID relief bill, was the largest transfer of wealth. All these giant companies started buying up houses, and that's why we have a housing crisis right now. Like,
that's not right.
It's really easy to go after the fat person. That's what I don't like. Like, it's easy. You can make fun of them. You can spike the ball. You can go, ha, 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 blah, blah, blah. And, like, I don't know. Like, this is a crazy cultural moment. I appreciate it. But to me, of all the things you could have complained about, those are the people you go after. I'm not with that.
Yeah, again, I didn't take it as him going after that group of people. I took it as him using.
You're saying that because you're not one of those people.
Yeah.
If he would have said some ignorant shit about black people, you'd be all over it. You're not in that group of people, so it's not that big of a deal to you. But I'm telling you, I know people where hearing something like this could be really fucking destructive. Those are the people that have the most in common with this guy. That's my problem. My problem is you are enemying somebody. You are othering somebody who's literally in your situation. So it's like, what? So who's the Richmond, south of Richmond have the solution for us?
You remember how the Israelites, when they were enslaved, how they would go after each other instead of going after the Egyptians because they felt like the Egyptians, it was just too big of a thing. Like they weren't going to do that, so they went after each other. Remember that whole situation?
Yeah, but that's not what's going on here because he's calling out Richmond, north of Richmond, who have more power than him. So he is going after the powerful here. He's just going after the blue powerful. He's acting like the Richmond, south of Richmond didn't fuck up our economy. My brother, yes, they did. I just explained to you how it was primarily Republicans who took $8 trillion out of everybody's pockets and a bunch of blood out of the bodies of lots of innocent people that had no fucking quarrel with us whatsoever. But all that's happening, but let's go after the fat lady who's super depressed and is trying to eke out little one moment. That's the other thing too, is like the poor should just live in absolute squalor.
Babe,
bullshit.
You need to see, pull up those lyrics again, because actually what he said was there's one person that's gorging themselves in one situation while we have people starving on the streets. That's okay? No,
we don't have people starving on the street.
What do you mean we don't have people? What are you talking
about? Nobody's
about?
starving to death on the street in America. Give me a news article. Show me.
You've never met a hungry homeless person?
Starving and hunger are not the same thing. Believe me, I know the difference.
Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're still talking about a group of people that are eating themselves up to 300 pounds, and you have a group of people that are skin and bones. That's not right. And ridiculous. You can't just go after one group. It's
that's ridiculous.
The person that's to that why is that ridiculous?
Because I've actually been homeless. And
you were fed while you were homeless.
Correct.
You weren't homeless like these people that don't have any ID and they don't have any whatever.
Show me where people are dying of hunger in America. Just show me one article.
We've been around people that we've bought meals for because they haven't eaten in days.
Again,
okay, so what we're talking about is somebody who's taking the system and being and having so much, and then other people who have nothing.
It's complete bullshit.
I disagree with you.
That construction is absolutely ridiculous. Like, what's going to happen? So who are these? Now, I need you to tell me who's dying in the streets because of a lack of food.
No, what I'm talking about is when the
so we're agreeing nobody's dying in the street.
Because of hunger. I don't know.
That's what it means to starve.
I don't know. I'm not. It doesn't matter. Even if you don't say starving, even if it's people that are hungry, which we've seen that. Like I said, when we were working with the homeless. Some of them they were given their government money.
I'm just not going to agree with you. I thought it was
their money and help. Everybody can help other people.
I thought it was a cheap shot.
I
thought it was a complete cheap shot, and it demonstrates that he doesn't really understand the problem. Because
he didn't follow it up. Where did he talk? Whoa, never mind.
The fat woman the obese person.
Oh no, he did right there.
The obese person milking the welfare is not the reason people are dying in the streets if they're dying in the streets. It's the fucking $8 trillion alone that we spent on the G-Blot. It's the fucking massive transfer of property ownership after COVID. Those were the issues. And the Republicans stopped. The Republicans were front and center in that. And he only talked about the people north of Richmond. That's my problem.
Yeah, that's an issue.
The people south of Richmond, my brother, voted to send us into a fucking illegitimate war that cost us $8 trillion.
Yes, but
why is the woman eating the bonbons? Why did that make your song? But the fucking all the people that we buried over there in Iraq and fucking Niger and Yemen, how come you're not talking about that? You know why? It's because the fucking the rich men from south of Virginia are responsible for that, and they look like you.
Yeah, that's true though.
All I'm saying is going after this woman is a missed opportunity for class consciousness and solidarity. The fat woman eating the bonbon is just as much as a victim of the American system as a spoiled white guy who's whining about whatever.
Ascender, it didn't say woman. He's got woman in his head because he thinks that's what they're going after. It didn't say a woman.
Okay, obviously, we all know that the stereotype of the person eating the bonbons at 5'3".
No, I've seen...
I'm talking about when people talk about them. You talk about, you hear about dudes on welfare?
I've seen a lot of men. I've seen more men overweight on welfare than women.
Yeah, okay. You can't be. First of all,
look at the group of people that we were working with.
How many men do you know?
Look at the group of people, the homeless people that we were working with.
And you knew they were on welfare.
I mean, yeah, they told us.
That doesn't mean they're on welfare.
What do you mean they told us they were? Why would you say you're on welfare if you're not?
Who are these people?
Are we talking about food stamps? That's what we're talking when we say welfare?
Food stamps is not welfare.
Okay, well, I thought welfare was food stamps. And when you get government aid for your housing.
This is what I'm saying, babe.
I thought it was your housing and your food.
There's a lot of shit that you don't know. Like a food stamp is not the same as welfare. Welfare, you get a check on top of your food stamps. You get food stamps, you get a check and everything.
Yes, so they were getting those benefits. They told me they were. They were getting.
Why would they be in a shelter then if they were on welfare? Does that make sense to you?
They were getting their food stamp. I don't know. Okay. Oh yeah, because
I've actually been on welfare.
You were a child.
It's very. Okay. All right. Well, Sori thinks that it's the fat woman on welfare.
No, I don't think that. Don't phrase what I said. What I'm saying is there are a lot of issues in this country, and just like when we had the situation we were working with the homeless, the people that were getting the welfare. If this dude said something about black people, you wouldn't be so understanding. The people that were getting the welfare could do stuff to help other people, and there were people that did. There were people that used their food stamps to take care of themselves and other people.
If he said something about black people, even though it's true, if he said, "Yeah, you guys got a higher rate of crime, of course cops are shooting you," you'd be all over that shit because you're with somebody. But because you're not from that community, it's not affecting you that way.
No, I'm saying that the overweight person is not pure as the driven snow. They can help out the community as well. Everybody should be helping out everybody. And of course, the majority of money that we've sent for wars is a massive problem, and that's where it's stemming from.
But it doesn't get talked about.
I mean,
we were straining at a gnat and swallowing a camel. Amy, that's what they told me. They said there was no, to kill people.
They were on a waiting list to get into their apartments.
$8 trillion to kill people.
Yes, babe.
Okay, what does straining at a gnat and swallowing a camel mean? What does that mean?
That means you're focusing. Obviously, we all know what that means. You're focusing on the small thing instead of the big thing. That's actually the problem.
Okay, so why did he just do that in the song?
Oh, he absolutely did, yes. Okay. But I don't want to do that in this reaction because all of us are responsible.
Of all the problems in America, why do you think he chose those people to go after?
Well, I mean, I think it's because, do you want my honest answer? My honest answer is because I think he's probably right-wing, and right-wing people that do hard labor, they always go after the group of people that's on welfare because their taxes go into that, and it bugs them. And so when they get the opportunity,
why go after fat people? Because he went out of his way to describe her. You're 5'3" and 300 pounds, blah, 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 blah.
I think he wants to use an extreme example to...
But they're the gnat, though. That's nothing.
Oh, I agree.
So why go after those people? Why go after those vulnerable people? What good does it do?
I think he has a personal issue with it, and he wanted to ventilate that.
Right, and what I'm saying is he missed a very important cultural moment.
I
That's
agree.
all. He missed a cultural moment, and it was cowardly, and it was weak sauce, and I tell him that to his face. That's some bullshit. That's some whole shit. I don't like that at all. And obviously, he's going after women. I don't care what anybody says. Every time somebody talks about the fat person on welfare eating the bonbons, we all know they're talking about a woman. Everybody had a woman in their head. Nobody had a dude in their head when he was talking about that. We all know where the stereotype comes from. Look, I think he's bringing up some very valid issues with the song. I just think the target is wrong. That he's got it in his mind that these Northerners, these people in the South, they've never gotten over losing the slavery thing. In Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, was slavery central. That's just a fact. So he's having a hard time with the changing world that we're in. He wants it to go back to the way it was before. So where you could just like mock people incessantly and go after weak people who have done no harm to you whatsoever. You got literally millions of dudes right now on PTSD. See, that's the other thing. Is like these dudes are coming back with PTSD, all types of shit. That's costing us so much money because we have to front the medical bills of these people with the VA. That costs a lot of money. There's so much money that we've spent.
We don't do enough for them.
There's so much money. Exactly. There's so much money we spent on this thing, and most of the capital goes to acquiring land and resources, and not even for the guys who are doing anything. So I'm sure dude has family that got caught up in that GWAT bullshit. And those are the people you go after? That's just weak to me. That's just weak to me, man. That shit is... I don't like that shit. I don't like going after people weaker than you. Like, I like the song as far as, like, he's definitely speaking for the pain of a lot of people. I'm certain that if we talk to him, I'm sure he wouldn't say something like that if he could hear the story of one of these 300-pound women and the shit that they've been going through. I'm sure if he sat down and listened to those women, that he would have a different perspective and opinion of them. Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying is, like, again, feel how you want to feel about Marx. But to me, this is an example of, because to Marx, everything was about class. And so this dude, I mean, not anymore because he's about to blow up, good for him. But this dude, prior to this explosion, was much closer to this woman, the woman that he's making fun of, than the Richmond, south of Richmond. Mm-hmm. But he is taking what they're saying and then blaming her for the situation that both of these rich men in the south and north of Richmond put us in. That's my problem. Is that I don't know, but see, the thing is, I don't know if the song would even have been viral if he did not include that cheap shot. Again, no, you could say inflammatory shit. Like, for a guy with that kind of setup to say something about Bush, like the fact that Bush led us into an $8 trillion war, that would have been shocking. But see, Bush is a big guy and he's still popular among Republicans, so he's not. It would have been more shocking. You got a guy in the backwoods of Virginia saying stuff against George Bush. Oh, like he wasn't brave with that. He wasn't cool with that. He wasn't edgy with that. We're gonna go after the girl in the fucking trailer park, but not the guy that's in Kennebunkport with the millions and millions of dollars. But you're hardcore because you made fun of someone that can't defend themselves against you.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's.
That shit is weak. I would be completely ashamed of any of my sons if they did something like that. I would be very, very ashamed of them if they did some shit like that. I hope I raise better boys, but like I said, this is a class issue. I think one of the major reasons the song resonates is because like everybody's feeling this pain economically. I just wish he would have kept the bad guys the actual bad guys. Like I wish he would just. And that's the other thing Sadie brought up: corporate welfare. What the fuck? What about 2008 when the Republicans, okay, had us bail out all these billionaire banks? He didn't talk about that welfare. This is what I'm talking about. Like, he didn't go after the powerful. He was very general, rich men north of Richmond. But then when he wants to go after somebody with no power, he's extremely specific. You're 5'3", you're 300 pounds, you're on welfare, you're obese, blah, 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 blah. But then, like, the actual people who are making us all miserable, he doesn't know anything about them. It's just general. They're just rich men north of Richmond. Like, look, he has 30 million views. And the reason he has 30 million views
on this song
is because one, he's tapping into the pain. But when people are in pain, they're not always rational. And so this is an irrational, in my view, just an irrational sort of, I'm going to blame the person closest to me for the problem because I don't think I have the power to really go up against the people that are really doing this shit. Because I promise
that's what
you,
I said about the Israelites, and you said no, that's not what it is.
I promise. Well, he was able to call out the men north of Richmond. So my problem is that if he would have talked about the rich men south of Richmond, getting us into a war, it would have been a perfect song. But when you just go after fat people because you know how Republicans are, we're not woke, we're not politically correct, and we're just gonna mock you incessantly, blah blah blah. But if you make fun of me, I'm gonna change the entire fucking curriculum at school. all these white folks running around calling people snowflakes. Their kids can't go to school and hear that their forefathers were slave raping. So like this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is my problem with this group of people. It's like they act all hard. They act like, everybody's a snowflake, but then something goes to them and like, we're fucking changing legislation. We're changing like what gets taught in school, all types of shit, so that your fragile little child doesn't have to deal with the trauma of who their ancestors were. But now you can come on and make a song and talk shit about weak people that can't defend themselves. Man, that's some hoe shit to me. That shit is weak as fuck in my opinion. So that's where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at with it. I mean, he's a it's a decent song. Resonated with you, obviously. I understand why it resonated with people.
I agree with you in that, if you're looking at this song and you're talking about why the money situation in America is the way that it is, and you're saying, okay, you should be going after the big time players, like you said, the Nat thing and all that. I get all of that. I'm just saying, when we talk about other things, we say, oh, everybody wants to go after the rich, but nobody wants to do something themselves. Well, you can't just say it's the rich guy's fault. We have to do something about it too. So if we're talking about people in those situations, I'm looking at it as that everybody should be taking part in helping out other people, and that there are people that are in those situations and they won't lift a finger to help other people. I mean, I've seen people be very generous in every situation, and some people that won't be generous at all in the situation. So I can't speak about who he's talking about or what situation he's talking about. But I mean, there are people that abuse the system. That is absolutely true. And you've never seen that?
They're not abusing the system to put us in the financial situation that we're actually in.
No, but when you're talking about morale and people all living in a...
what's bad for morale is the town football player who everybody loved comes home in a body bag because he was fighting in Iraq and he died in an IED explosion. That's pretty bad for morale. Mm-hmm. But if he died in an IED explosion for a righteous cause, the town could deal with it. But everybody in the town knows that boy died for no fucking reason. So there's that.
Who? What are you talking about?
All right.
Why are you doing that? Is there a specific person?
Because you're talking about, people abusing welfare is bad for morale. Meanwhile, we've got like thousands and thousands of people dying in war. Like, that's not bad for morale?
Of course that is.
One is a lot worse than the other.
Of course. Okay. But
and
it doesn't take away from one.
It does. It
doesn't take away completely from one.
It's straining at a gnat. It's straining at a gnat and sawing a camel. We're not going to agree, and that's okay. That's the purpose of the song. There's a reason that the guy's not dumb. He knows what he's doing. He knows that he puts that line in there. It's gonna blow
this
shit
is
up.
One thing I will say is that the song before that we listened to of his, like, he's talking about like wanting to go home and talking about God and stuff like that. So I had a certain perception and understanding of the guy, and then this song, when he like just shot at the person like that or that group of people, that was a little bit like mean. I mean, to be that specific, especially because he didn't have to. I think he could have said,
"You grew up around these people, though."
I did.
This is the type of guy that'll say, "Hey, those kids should have been over there in Mexico." That's the type of attitude these people have.
Yeah,
but you're turned on about the racial issue. But fat people, you don't have any grace for, so you're okay.
Like the Somalians when they came into our area, like that was like a big thing. And there was a lot of rumors that were getting spread that all the government money was going to them to buy them new vehicles and to give them hundreds of, thousands of dollars every single month so they didn't have to work.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I mean, I have seen all of that stuff. I have
Right.
also seen people abuse the system.
I don't think you've really seen people abuse the system. I think you've seen
I did.
people. I think you've seen people, and
I
Grace, you believe that you know things that you don't know about people. Like there's no real
Babe, I
difference.
was friends with them. I was
There's
in
no
their
difference
house.
between your assumptions and what realities are.
No,
until the
I
person
saw
that
the
you
reality.
realize.
I was friends with them. I know their situation.
How
I
much were they
literally
getting a
sat
month?
down. I'm not gonna remember those numbers now. I literally sat down. I had all of their numbers. I had all their finances in front of me because they were asking me for help for their finances.
I know you're talking
The
about.
girl was working her ass off to try to make room for their family, but the guy was the one sitting at home eating the bonbons. And yes, he gained a bunch of weight doing that. He didn't work for his family,
What's that to do?
and
with
he
it?
was taking from the system and not putting in.
Okay, so they're getting that in that household. So should that stop? So now the whole household has to suffer because of one guy?
The household would have suffered less if he got a job.
I agree, but he's not getting a job for whatever reason. So what should we do with that family in that household?
Yeah, and I see what you're saying. I mean, we shouldn't take
So
the
tell
money
me
away
what we
from
should
them.
do. Because this guy's saying, man, fuck those people.
No, I'm not saying fuck those people, but I would say if you're that guy, get a job. That guy could have gotten a job. There's no reason he could. He did. When he got out of that, he went and he ended up doing his thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean,
Okay. Land the plane. Bones Downing says divorce him.
I mean, she did eventually.
No, I think he's talking to you.
He's saying that girl should divorce him.
Nah. I think he's talking about you divorcing me because he says it. He keeps saying it over and over again.
So yeah, I mean,
Look, I think it's fine. I don't need to re-listen to the lyrics, Ascender. I mean, I've been looking at the lyrics. I mean, they're all there. It's the typical. Oh, it's the people on welfare that's the problem. We're not going to talk about corporations. We're not going to talk about welfare for corporations. We're not going to talk about the GWAT. We're just going to keep. I don't. That's the thing is Ascender. Like Ascender knows that the GWAT was bullshit. He took time out of his life to participate in that nonsense. So he knows more than everybody in this room that what I'm saying is true. Like, and you, I'm sorry, but if Ascender and you are agreeing about something, I'd be concerned. Because he's,
I just
there's
think,
a lot of shit that he says where I'm like, yo, don't say that shit in public.
I think you're not understanding what I'm saying because I don't
I'm
think
pretty
it was
familiar
good
with
that
that mindset.
that he went after that person or that group of people. But I think that we do have an issue in this country, and that you can't just say it's about the rich or the wars and all that stuff. We all play a part in it. We all do.
No, we don't.
What do you mean we don't? Of
No,
course
we
we do.
Our government took us into a war, and there's nothing we could do about it.
Who voted them in?
You keep skipping these
voted them
little
in?
minor details.
Who voted them in?
We did not vote anybody in to take us into a war, Your Grace. Nobody. Go look, because I was very involved in the 2000 election because it was Bush was good. You know, it's okay. So no, that's not nobody. Bush was not running on.
We do not.
I'm going to
vote
bring us to
people
war.
in that are going to bring us to less wars. I've never seen them say
You're wrong.
we picked him because he's going to go for less wars.
Literally, that was Trump's entire thing, the forever wars. He literally ran on that.
Right.
What are you talking about?
That's right.
That's the reason he wouldn't go after the Iranians.
What do you say? I take back what I said.
Yeah.
I guess I've not heard of people saying I'm going to vote for him because he's going to bring us into less wars.
Ascender's coping because he can't believe that I would dislike the song. I have to read again. I don't need to read it again. Like I pretty much almost memorized the lyrics. I don't need to listen to it again. I think what he's saying is valid. I think the inflation issue is a valid issue. And obviously, when there's an economic situation, it's always going to be harder for young men than young women. I understand all that. All I'm saying is that there was a missed opportunity because he had to spike the football on a group of vulnerable people so he could channel all that anger that he has justly for the actual people who put him in the situation. And he's throwing stones at vulnerable people that cannot defend themselves for an issue that he has no medical knowledge about whatsoever. And to me, that's just like completely a cowardly thing to do. I
agree with that.
I'll be impressed when you go after the real fucking people that are really causing us a problem. Sally in the fucking trailer park is not my problem. She has no power in this country, and the tax participation that I'm doing is minuscule relative to what I'm paying out for her. It's literally pennies. So No. Like, I appreciate it. I understand it. I just think that that was a cowardly thing to do. But I think he knows and everybody else knows that he would not be at 30 million views if he didn't put in some crazy controversy. He learned from what happened with the other guy. You try that in a small town guy. Like, he learned from that guy. Like, oh, if I do some shit like this, it'll go viral.
I
And
don't
then
know
he came out.
that song. I haven't heard it, so.
No, so it's the whole try that in a small town. You know, it's all the hick shit. Blah blah blah. That's what was happening in Alabama.
I've heard like there's some controversy over it and stuff, but I haven't heard the song. Is what I'm saying.
I just think you're incorrectly saying Richmond north of Richmond is an attack on Democrats. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. Because again, the psychology of people in the South, you kind of have to be there. Like they're really mad about that Civil War shit. So it might very well be that. But again, he was very, very general when he was talking about the rich men who are really fucking us up, and he was really, really, really specific when he was going after the people that he can relate to the most. See, that's the tragedy of this situation to me. The person with the bonbons and the fudge and the obese and the hopeless and the fucking trailer park, it's just like you said with the, oh, just get another job. Like, do you think that she wants to be in that circumstance? Like, obviously some shit has happened with her to where she's stuck and she feels like she has no hope and this is the best that's going to happen for her. So how come you can have that sort of deference for the person working in, you know, the McDonald's with a bad attitude? But now this woman, she gets no compassion whatsoever because, you know, she should do her part somehow. I don't know.
Yes, because I've seen people in these situations that could work and chose not to because that was the life that they preferred.
All right. Okay. There you go. It is what it is, y'all.
People make choices. Not always. I agree that there are people that they have issues and they're in certain situations and they may or may not get out of, but there are absolutely people that choose to be on welfare because they prefer to do that than have to go do the 9 to 5.
All right.
And they've said it explicitly.
All right. All right, guys. There it is. As you can see, this is not an echo chamber. Definitely, you know,
free speech environment.
Like I said, I agree with that rich men have fucked up our economy. I definitely agree with that, and it's definitely important to speak about it. I just hope that the next guy finds a way to reach across the aisle with people that are more like him. But again, that's not going to get you 30 million views because we're sinners and we gotta. He couldn't just create a song talking about this shit. He had to go after somebody. And he knew he had to go after somebody in order for the thing to work. So, you know, you kind of have to blame us as much as you have to blame him. Because I don't think we're reviewing this video right now if he didn't put that crazy shit in there. So, and the thing is, like, he knows just like everybody else. All you need is one viral moment in this economy. And you can go from working a 9 to 5 to working whenever the hell you want. So, I understand why he did it. I just think that it could have been like a classic song that gets played for 40, 50 years, but I don't think this song is going to get played 40 years from now. And I think it's that line. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you can be great forever, like you can be an all-timer, or you can get this bag right now. And he obviously chose to get the bag right now. Good for him. So anyway,
I still say if you're the guy that made this and you're watching this and you claim to be a Christian, I don't think you should have said it like that. I think he could have said it.
What?
I think that there's.
Amy says I'm correct.
Well, then that's the end of it for
that's
you.
It's it.
His
Amy
night's
said,
complete, Amy.
My night is complete. Vin, however, is correct. Correct.
I still think you shouldn't. If you're the guy and you're listening, I don't think you should have said it like that. I think that there were other ways that it could have been communicated without going like that. But
why not insult fat politicians? Why not insult fat politicians? Correct. Sadakt. The guy that we had before was a little bit overweight. This is what I'm talking about. Like there's a lot of low. He could have went after a fat politician if he hated fat people so much he could go after both of them. But you ain't gonna do that.
Even the homie that did this song was not. I mean, it's not like he was a. I'm not gonna go there. Anyway.
You ain't gonna do that. Shout out to the homie. Shout out to the homie. Hey, listen. Dude's a Christian. I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure if he sat down and was able to listen to one of the stories of these ladies. Oh, and I got 3 stars from Sadie. Hold on. I gotta find that shit and screenshot it for posterity. Where are my stars?
Is it like a 5-star hotel?
Ah!
3 stars is not a good
look,
sign.
I got three more
5.
gold stars for compassion, damn it. That's right. That's right. Thank you. Yeah, like this always happens. Like, I am not saying it's a trash song. I'm gonna rank it very high. I'm saying the thing that stuck in my craw was that this dude can literally be the voice of all of us are going through right now. Like, he could have really like brought us all together against the people that are really fucking with us, especially in election season. Like, it's such a moment. You had it. And then you
yeah, but I don't know if
you let it go.
I don't know. Like you said, maybe it wouldn't have gotten as viral. Maybe it wouldn't have gone as viral. Maybe he wouldn't have gotten as much traction. If
and you know, we get the leaders we deserve, and we also get the music we deserve. So I understand what he's doing. Like, shout out to Ian. I got 2 stars from
Ian.
Ian.
And then you couldn't say it. It was like too hard for you, huh?
What?
Keep going.
What? With who?
Just forget it. The moment's passed.
Oh. I'm sure if you sat down, you could simping for the Dems. That's right. That's right, Pumper. I'm a big Democrat. I voted blue my entire life. My entire life. Go to Middle America. You'll see. You'll see. It's nothing but Democrats over there. Okay. Much love to all you beautiful people. We shall return. Listen, guys, it's real over here. Like, it's real. It's real. Authentic, real reactions. Y'all know what it's about. Let's give the man a couple days. Okay. All right. Does this top Tom McDonald? Well, Tom McDonald's another one. Like, Tom McDonald is this on crack. Like, he knows exactly what he's doing. Him and this dude should go on a tour together. They'd make millions. I appreciate, but see, here's the thing.
Actually, they might actually do well.
As a person who hustles, I'm part of this whole hustle culture, whatever. Like, I respect anybody's hustle. I know, like Tom, I know exactly what song he's gonna make. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna be the same song over and over and over again. Great, but he's gonna make his money. AC/DC did that. Supposedly, they made the same record over and over again. So, Tom McDonald, get your money. It's a short window. It's the same thing with this dude. Get your freaking money. It's a short window. Mm-hmm. Like, I respect that. And I respect all the strategy, because I know, like, behind the scenes, like YouTube, it's like people talk about the algorithm and things like that. They make it sound really simple, but it's just a really, really, really complex mechanism to make work for you. So shout out to Tom McDonald and this guy. And I believe this dude's a Christian, so he's a brother in Christ. So there's that. I'm going to give this one a 9.4. I wish this song was like the first verse and half of the song. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a 10. Like, this is a cultural moment. And then it went, but that's all right. I'm gonna check out Vosh's channel. And by the way, thank you, Applejack, for the correct saying that it wasn't just Democrats, that he was going Democrats and Republicans, that type of thing. All right, what did you give it?
I gave it a 8.6.
An 8 point. Don't make no freaking sense. All right, guys.
I didn't say that I think like that, but I understand the plight of that. And I still say, like, they're talking about one problem that's in the middle, and they're saying that there's, whatever.
Yeah, he's on his shit. Shout out to the. I mean, look, if he turned down an $8 million record deal, that's because somebody wants to give him $10 million, right? Get your money, bro. Get your money. All right, guys, we out of here. Vin out.
Sorry.